everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today, I have a little bit of misty morning and focus. That combination, that zing, and that bergamot. Just love it. Just love it. I hope you're hanging out with me, having your cup of tea, or possibly a cup of coffee, or maybe something harder, as I always say. Depends on what part of the planet you're on. Today, we're going to be talking about the BCN rankings, as I always do when the new rankings come out, and February's rankings just came out yesterday or the day before. So I want to tell you about it. Now, there is one highlight. There's a big company that I think that you're going to want to hear about and what's going on, and that is Fujifilm. But we'll get into that in just a second. In the meantime, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded my ebook as of yet, why the hell not? It's free. Go pick it up. 10 tips at making tack-sharp images. There's something there for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're an amateur, a pro-am, or even a professional. You're going to learn something. Once again, it's free. Go over to JCristina.com/ebook. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook. 10 tips at making tack-sharp images. Grab it. It's free. Anyways, getting back into these BCN awards or rankings, which I find to be very, very interesting. So, if you don't know about these rankings, let me first say that these are rankings that are based out of numbers from Japan. So they're not worldwide numbers. They are rankings from the electronic stores, the retailers out of Japan. And they take about 40 to 50% of all. So it's a large segment, a large sampling. It's not a small 5%, 10%, and then give you numbers. It's a large sampling. Now, does this say what is going on with the entire market worldwide? Not really, but kind of, sort of. If we look at it as where companies are going, the ebb and flow, how they're, let's say, coming up or going down, we can get a general idea of what's going on in the market. And that's what I like doing with these. It gives us a way to kind of read the tea leaves, so to speak, or maybe the runes or the tarot. However it is, whatever you like to read, it gives us a way maybe to get a little bit of insight of where the market is going. And that's what I just absolutely love. And I'm going to give you my opinion, but I want your thoughts also when we go through these numbers, because I think it's kind of important. Okay, I really do, based on these numbers, especially this time. Sometimes there's not a lot to it. We always know what's going on. That has happened for many years when Canon has always remained in the top spot. A lot of people didn't know that Canon was the #1 mirrorless ILC seller in the world for countless years. They always thought it was Sony, but that is not the case. Well, as of today, or as of a few months ago, it is the case. Sony has bumped Canon to second spot. Now, as we see with these numbers, it's going to be, once again, the same way. So we're going to analyze the 2019 to 2020, all the way from February to February, basically, to see what is going on. Who's strong, who's weak, where are people going? Now, what we are going to see, as I said before, Fujifilm has bumped out OM Digital Solutions. Now, OM Digital Solutions, if you don't know, it was formerly Olympus, right? So Olympus sold their camera division to JIP. JIP created a new company called OM Digital Solutions, and there you have it. Basically the same thing they did with Sony. When Sony said, hey, you know, we don't want to make any more of these laptops. JIP, do you want this company? You want this division? They're like, yeah, we'll take it. And Vio ended up going away from Sony, and now it's with their own segment. All right, same thing that's happening here with Olympus and OM Digital Solutions. So Fujifilm bumped them, but we're going to get into that. Check out this chart. I think this chart is very telling. There's a couple of things that are very telling on this chart. Number one, we see the numbers for this February 2021 was about 73% of sales in comparison to February of 2020. So once again, 73% of sales. Not great, but we're seeing this slight bit of a recovery. Whereas in January, we saw 61.1% of the sales in comparison to the previous year. So we are getting better, all right? So we're up about, let's say, 12%. So that is really good. We're still not there yet. We're not out of the doldrums, so to speak. There's still recovery to be done, but we are getting better. There is a delay in this recovery because there was this second outbreak, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and so on and so forth, you know. Yeah, I don't want to get into all that. If I even say the name, I'll get flagged. And this video will end up being like demonetized or censored in some way just because I said the name of that thing that we're dealing with. Why that is, I really don't know. All right. I don't want to get into the political part of all of that, but it's not good. It's not good. I shouldn't have to feel like I can't say something, right? But anyways, it is what it is, so we have to play the game of the big boys, right? So things are getting better. They're not 100% yet, but let's say they're about 12, 13% better. They're at 73% of the sales from previous year, which is pretty good. What we do see, and like I was telling you, is Fujifilm has now bumped out OM Digital Solutions, which used to be Olympus. And they are now in third position, whereas Fuji used to be in fourth. So now Olympus, or OM Digital Solutions, is in fourth. So that's kind of interesting. I personally think that that's amazing that Fujifilm has been doing so well as of late. I've talked about them for years now, and I said, you know, Fujifilm is one of those companies that really listen to their clients. And instead of taking, Fujifilm is always like, well, what can we give them so that we win the hearts and minds of these people so that they tell their friends, family, colleagues to go and buy our crap? You would think all companies would do that, right? Well, they don't. They really don't. A lot of companies just try figuring out how to screw you and I. Fujifilm kind of doesn't do that. Every time I look at a firmware update from Fujifilm, they're not just like fixing something that was broken when they initially released the camera, but they're always adding stuff. I remember a camera first came out, I forgot which one it was. It was shooting at 1080p, and literally within 2 or 3 months, it was shooting 4K. Didn't pay anything extra for it, but it was shooting 4K. These are the type of additions that Fujifilm does. And all of their people that are using their cameras turn into fanboys and fangirls really quickly. And I can see why. All right? I can see why. And I'm not even going to get into the whole medium format thing, maybe by the end of this, but that's major too for Fujifilm. Now, there's a lot more things in this chart that we need to look at. Canon, while they were usually neck and neck with Sony when Sony did surpass them, now all of a sudden Sony's just running with the ball. They're sitting at 33% of the market, where Canon is still sitting at 22.2. Not good. Not good. There's a reason for that, and I'll get into that in just a second. But now look at Fujifilm. They're sitting at 20.2% of the market, whereas Canon is sitting at 22.2. So you're looking at 2% difference between Fuji and Canon. That is massive, guys. That is massive. Remember, Canon has always been number one for years and years and years. Now we see Fujifilm just pushing ahead. And we're going to see another chart in just a second to show why they're pushing ahead. But remember that 2% away from Canon as of right now. That's big. That is really big. And also, Canon falling behind Sony substantially with about 8%. It's a big difference. 33% of the market is currently going to Sony. That is massive. Now, let's look at this chart. This kind of tells us why. What is going on here? Why is it that Canon is falling behind? Well, there it is at the top. The Alpha 6400 pulls in 15.3% of the market. That is a massive amount. Now, right under that, we see the EOS Kiss M, or the EOS M. But look at what it is. That is the old Kiss M. That is the old EOS M, not the new one. And then just below that, we see why Fujifilm is doing so well. They're coming in third with 7% of all sales with their Fujifilm X-A5. That is really quite awesome. Think about that. They are above the 4th position, which is the Canon EOS Kiss M2. Now, if you were to ask me a year and a half ago, when the Canon EOS M2 came out, would they continue to be the #1 camera, the #1 mirrorless ILC? And I would say absolutely, because they crushed it for years and years and years and years with their M series. Well, look what happened with the Kiss M2. It's in 4th, below Fujifilm. What does that mean to you? What does it mean? I mean, to me, it means that Canon just doesn't give a shit anymore about the consumer market. If they did, that EOS Kiss or the EOS M2 would be in the 1st position above the A6400. But it's not, because Canon doesn't care. They don't. They are obviously pushing their products more to the pro-am, prosumer, as well as professional market. Period. They are almost just letting go of the consumer market. And to me, this is a problem. I'll get into that in just a second. But if we continue down this chart, we see in the 5th position, we have the Alpha 7C. We have then in the 6th position, the Fujifilm XS10. Then the 7th position, we have the Alpha 6100. And then finally in the 8th position, we have the Olympus Pen EPL10. I'm going to guess they'll probably drop even more. And then in the 9th position, we have the Fujifilm XA7. And then finally, the 10th position has the Sony Alpha 7 Mark III. That is a beast of a camera with 2.8% of the market. But if you see what's going on here, we have Olympus in there once, okay? And that is going to drop out in my personal opinion. Then we have Fujifilm once, twice, 3 times on the top 10. We have Sony once, twice, 3, 4 times. Okay, Sony 4 times in the top 10. And then finally we have Canon, how many times? Twice. They have the EOS Kiss M and they have the EOS Kiss M2. That's it. All right? You see what's going on here. You see where things are starting to take shape. Away from Canon, all right? Definitely away from the old Olympus, which is now the OM Digital Solutions. But what we see is Sony is pushing up there into the #1 position even further with 33%. And we see Fujifilm literally on the heels of Canon with only 2% down. I can see before the end of 2021, Fujifilm overtaking Canon in this market. All right, what do you guys think? It's quite interesting to me because things have really changed up a lot in comparison to 2 years ago even, all right? 2 years ago, Canon was number one over and over and over ad nauseum. But as we can see here, the Canon EOS M2, the Mark II, just fell on deaf ears. People don't give a crap about it. They just don't. Why is it? Because Canon didn't do a good job. It's half-baked. It's not as good as the EOS M series when it came out first. You would think that they would throw the kitchen sink into it to retain that first place. But they didn't. And in my personal opinion, I think that's going to bite Canon in the ass. When you stop bringing in new blood, the brand stagnates. You need to constantly try to bring in new blood. Bring them in cheap and then start selling them into the more expensive stuff. This is not rocket science. Sony did it with their A7 III. That thing was a loss leader in my personal opinion. Full frame, an amazing camera. I recommended it, okay, from the week that it came out over some of the Canon cameras. And I'm a Canon shooter. Why? Because it was a better value. And anyone starting out in the market, right? Anyone starting out as a photographer, I would say go with the Sony A7 III at the time. Now we have some more options on the Canon side, on Nikon, Fujifilm, that I would say, well, there's some other options. Depends on what you want to do with it. But for the most part, Canon is just dropping the ball. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Okay, I don't get it. I understand that they want to capitalize on the prosumer and the professional market, but you always need to bring in new blood, like I said. And Sony's doing it. with that Alpha 6400. Look at that, 33% of the entire market is the Sony Alpha. Plus a whole bunch of other cameras. They have 4 on the top 10. Okay, that's major. I mean, you still have top 10 of the A7 III that I was telling you about. You have the 6100, you have the 7C, you have the 6400. I mean, there's a bunch when it comes to Sony. And now we also see a bunch when it comes to Fujifilm. So I really think that that draw is going to bring people to Sony, but also, more importantly, to Fuji. I think all the companies need to take heed to what Fuji is doing. Fujifilm is a company, like I said, they understand their clients and they give their clients what they want. Okay? And they do it well, but they don't do it cheaply. The cameras really hold their value. If you take a look at a Fujifilm X-T4, you look at the new price and you look at the used price, it's only a few $100 difference. Whereas you see some of the Canon cameras, some of the, let's just say even Sony, the price really drops substantially. Fujifilm holds their value, period. Why does it? Why does it, guys? Let's think back. The hearts and minds of the people. Why? Because they're constantly giving. So instead of taking, they're giving. When they put out a new firmware update, they're giving. More stuff, log, different types of profiles, better eye focusing, better focusing in general. All right, tons of different things. Constantly advancements in every single software update. It doesn't take a rocket scientist here to see that Fujifilm is just doing it and they're doing it right. That's it. Once again, Fujifilm is sitting at 20.2% of the market, where Canon is sitting at 22.2%. That is only a 2%. That's it. 2% difference. I personally think Fujifilm is going to beat out Canon before the end of this year. What do you think? What do you think? I want to know. Do you also think that Canon is shooting themselves in the foot by only going towards the prosumer and the pro market and really cutting down on the value to newcomers, right? The value for newcomers to come into the Canon brand. It is so mission critical, guys, so mission critical. And I just don't understand when any company does that. So we'll see what ends up happening. I want to know your thoughts on it. What do you think about Canon? All right, kind of dropping the ball in my personal opinion. What do you think about Fujifilm on the heels of Canon? Most likely, in my personal opinion, will surpass them in 2021. What do you think about Sony sitting at 33% of the entire ILC mirrorless market as of right now? Really bumping up about, what is it? About almost 10% over Canon now, where it was like neck and neck. It's not neck and neck anymore, all right? If anything, Sony is going to have to worry about Fuji pretty soon. It could happen. And that kind of round robins back into what Fujifilm is doing with their GFX line. All right, they're creating a mirrorless company that is surrounded by not just APS-C, but medium format. And medium format, in my personal opinion, is the future for professionals. Not everyone, okay, but professionals. And seeing how they just completely circumvented the entire bloodbath of the full-frame mirrorless wars and just stick with APS-C and went straight to medium format, that was about the smartest damn move ever. And I said that since day one. And they're able to pull it off because their GFX line is fantastic. It is phenomenal. If you take a look at any of the photos that come out of a medium format camera, even a cropped medium format camera as a GFX is in comparison to like a Hasselblad, even though you just can't compare it. You will be spoiled immediately and you'll have a hard time going back to a full frame after looking at those medium format images. There's just so much data there, rich data, a ton. Okay? That's why I shoot all of my fashion work. That's why I shoot product work. Everything with medium format. Why? Because the clients require it and I require it for myself because I want a lot of pixels to be able to play with, and so do my clients. So if we need to crop in, which we always say never crop in, but a lot of times we have to because these companies want a single shot of a model and then they want to crop in to go from a full bust up to maybe a headshot to get really tight into maybe an ear for an earring or eye makeup or something. And they don't want to take another shot. Okay? So there's reasons for everything, and medium format is where it's at. So anyways, guys, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Canon? What do you think about Sony? What do you think about Fujifilm? What do you think about Olympus, the new OM digital solutions? Are they just going to fall off the chart completely? What do you think is going to go on? Anyways, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment area below. And then after we're done talking down here, go over to community.JCristina.com. Once again, community.JCristina.com. It's our creative Discord server where you can find a lot of really smart people, smarter than I am, having these conversations. No trolls. Once again, community.JCristina.com. Also, if you got even a little bit out of this video, throw it a big thumbs up. That would be helpful. Also, click the little bell icon over here so when I go live or if a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And of course, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be awesome. I would really appreciate it. Lastly, since you made it to the end of this lengthy video, please use promo code YT20 at checkout. Once again, promo code YT20 at checkout, and you'll get 20% off everything in your shopping cart. Don't forget that ebook, jcristina.com/ebook. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.